Welcome, everyone, to Season 3, Episode 15 of the Hall of Fame Show, and I'm your host, Kirk Buchner, and if I will seem a little under the weather, it's because I got Corona.
Yeah, this is just another attempt to make it so we'll never kiss. I know you.
I wasn't aware that was on the table. Had I known...
It's okay. We're still in separate countries, so we're fine for now.
Yeah, I think we're pretty much safe. So I've medicated up to the wazoo here to sound as good as I possibly can. So apologies to anyone and everyone. Funny, I never apologize when I'm drunk and I do this, but anyway, go figure that one out. I know what you want to talk about first. And the smorgasbord of shit where we open up the show. I know what you're really thinking. Man, I really want to know what Kirk's thinking about Twitter. And here's how whoever has this all, when it all ends, I just make one appeal, just one. Stop having something trend when it's somebody I really, really like who's over 70 and they're not actually doing anything. And it just happens to be everyone sort of clicking on it because it was some old cool picture. I'm getting pissed at that. That's all. I hope I wasn't too controversial here.
Yeah. Also, an edit button might be nice. So.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I've got.
Yeah, just edit button for like minor grammatical errors. You're like, oh crap, because sometimes I use the Google keyboard on my phone, and so sometimes the words it decides that I swiped are not the words I swiped. So if I could just go back and be like, oh, that was stupid, I have to delete the whole thing, start it over, and everything. Just give me a quick edit button. You know what I mean?
So that is my strong position on that, because I'm getting really tired of seeing my heroes from the past. Last week, I think, was Jimmy Page. And then you click on it, and then it's like, well, wait a minute, what's going on? And all it is cool pictures. And then eventually you get to that Denzel gif where he's going like this. Oh, when I learned, and someone with the ever so clever, oh, I thought unfortunately he died or something.
Yeah, well, Harrison Ford is trending right now.
I didn't even bite.
Yeah, it's just pictures of Harrison Ford. So
okay, yeah, I didn't even bite on that one because it wasn't number one.
Right, so, that makes sense.
Yeah, but I've been bitten. I don't know how many times on this, and it's like I'm getting really, really. That's my biggest pet peeve with Twitter.
Understood. Can I bring up a topic we did not discuss at all, just for your thoughts here? I know this may be elevator up, down. We're getting close to it.
Okay.
But we have the NBA playoffs have just started. I'm sorry, they have not officially started yet because apparently these playoff games or these play-in games do not count as playoff games.
But they don't count as regular season games either, though, right?
Yeah, they are in the twilight zone. So, although I mean, the Clippers are probably going to lose tonight because it's the closer playoff game as they can get. If they can choke, they will. But is there, going into these playoffs, is there anyone you think can really cement a legacy if their team has a big run or they have a big
cement a legacy,
or jump a level?
Okay. All right. I'm actually going to say James Harden. He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer anyway, but Harden has really embraced his role as a number two.
But he's been not that great for Philly, though.
No, but he knows his role right now. And that's something that Harden doesn't always know.
Okay. So
maybe that's just my own personal eyes, for whatever that's worth. If Toronto wins it all, then Siakam. But Toronto's not going to win it all.
No, they got a tougher. The whole East, like whoever comes out of the East, it's just going to be battered and bruised.
I think your Celtics are the team to beat in the East, personally.
I mean, they've been playing very well. They're not afraid of the Nets. They made no attempt to duck them. I would have preferred in a way they did what Milwaukee did, and just got the Bulls. But I mean, whatever. By the way, the Celtics won 51 games this season. Not to say how good a franchise the Celtics are, but that is the 36th best record in their franchise's history.
Holy shit.
Yeah. 51 and what is it, 31? Yeah, 51-31 is the 36th best record in the Celtics history. That's a pretty good franchise.
But yeah, oh my God. Well, going to your original question, I think it helps the most a championship for Rudy Gobert. I don't think Utah can win the whole thing, but Gobert is. I don't know that he's going to win the Defensive Player of the Year. I actually saw
it look based on public ballots right now. It's looking like Marcus Smart's going to win it.
I was reading that, and I'd have no problem with that either.
Yeah, who would be the first guard to win it since Gary Payton?
Yeah,
which is crazy.
And Doris Burke put it perfectly. I love when she's trending because usually she's trending because she says something intelligent. And it was like, Boston's the best defensive perimeter team, and my vote is going for the best defensive player. For that purpose.
Pretty basic. Yeah.
Yeah. So Gobert might not win the Defensive Player of the Year. Utah, because the West is, I don't know who's coming out of there, but Gobert just needs that something.
Mm-hmm. There's a chance if Utah doesn't do well, they blow this whole thing up.
That's a very good chance. There's a very good chance because I don't know how much further they can get with where they are.
Right. I feel like there are really only two teams I can legitimately see coming out of the West. I suppose it's possible Utah or Dallas could get their act together and do it. Mm-hmm. But it just really seems like this is Phoenix or Memphis, which is crazy to lose. The East, I think there are 5 teams who could legitimately win. No offense to the Raptors, but I think it's the top 4 seeds and Brooklyn.
Yeah. No, and none taken on that. Like, I'm not that gung-ho on Memphis, only because they've never been here.
Right, 100%. And the Suns had never been here until last year, and they got to the finals. So you never know. I mean, what happens if it's like a Celtics-Memphis final? It's 2 teams that have never been there, right? So, yeah. I mean, if I honestly think when I thought of this question, I mean, if the Celtics get there, I think that Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum already are so young in their careers. I mean, they're 24 and 25. That makes a difference, maybe jumping a tier in where they are. But I honestly think the player who's the most affected by winning a championship and has most to gain in terms of perception of their career is actually Jimmy Butler.
That's a good one too. That's a very good one. Butler's not getting better at this point.
No, he's 32. He comes in with the number 1 seed. They've got a little bit of chaos. Let's put it that way. I mean, when your coach threatens to fight you on the court, that's probably not just a normal teammates, getting at it fight. But if they can pull through this, I mean, they're gonna have to get through. I actually haven't seen the game tonight as to who's winning. But let's presume, I'm just presuming it's Atlanta. I think Atlanta's better than Cleveland. So let's just say they have to get through the Atlanta, Cleveland, I'd say probably Atlanta, then into probably Philly or Toronto, and then whoever survives the death match that is Milwaukee, Boston, Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. Like, that's a tough road even to get to the finals. And if they manage to pull it off, he has the advantage of having no worse than the 3rd best coach in the NBA with Spoelstra.
That's very good. I never thought of Butler for that. That actually makes a lot more sense than Gobert. Excuse me. On that same team, you could even say Kyle Lowry, because people still
if Kyle Lowry wins 2 championships.
Yeah. Then it's a lot harder to keep him out of that conversation, because a lot of people didn't want to fight when Toronto won that first thing. Lowry's still not the same player he was. He's clearly in decline, but 2 titles, that's going to be pretty hard to deny. And he's still a good player on that team. So yeah, I mean, if it's Miami or Utah, that helps.
Yeah. Interesting. I mean, of course, and then if Embiid wins one, although I think Embiid's going to win MVP and he's in his own level anyway.
I think Jokic could repeat.
What?
I think Jokic could repeat.
Actually, Jokic may repeat. But regardless, he's going to finish in the top 2. Yeah. I mean, Jokic is dragging that team on his own.
That's why we didn't even talk Denver, because there's no point.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's the same thing with Durant with the Nets. Like, if Durant doesn't play 45 minutes a night and score 40 points, they have no shot.
Well, they have Kyrie. Kyrie's really doing reasonably well, wouldn't you
Right.
say?
I mean, the last time they played the Celtics, Kyrie and Durant combined for 80, and they still lost by 25. So
Either way, I love the fact that there are so many different combinations that are legitimately possible.
100%.
And it's a lot of fun. Before we go into some of the other stuff, I
do want to point out my favorite comedy thing that's happened though in the NBA.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, please.
The Charlotte Hornets all year had the picture of the final score of them losing in the 9-10 playoff game to Indiana last year, where they lost by 27. They went out and lost by 29 after looking at the score all year in their practice facility. So that's not the best.
Wow.
So yeah, that was pretty bad.
That's a good young team, though. They're
It's a good young team, but yeah, that's just not the way to go. No team could use Rudy Gobert in the league if you're to move to a new team more than Charlotte.
I'd have to agree with that.
They just need a center in the middle who can lock things up, because it's a layup drill to the basket all too often. So anyway,
I wanted to mention the Oakland Athletics.
Oh, go ahead.
So was it last week or 2 weeks ago? You mentioned how the A's have the same payroll they had in 1991.
Yeah, when they led the league in payroll in 1991 with $33 million, and they came this season with $33 million with payroll.
So here's a team that just needs some good PR, because if I'm a fan of the Oakland A's and I'm living in Oakland, I don't know how much longer I'm seeing this team.
Yeah, before they become the Vegas A's, just like the Raiders.
Right. And if I'm the owner of the Oakland A's, I'm probably want to be in Vegas. Let's be blunt. You probably do. Dave Stewart in 2019 was announced that they're going to retire his.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So that's something that Evan and I care about, and the site cares about. We don't just care about halls of fame. We like franchise stuff too. We really care about that. So obviously they weren't going to do it. They announced in 2019 they're going to do it in 2020. Well, we know what went to shit in 2020. But 2021 they could have done something, and maybe they could have done something here. Well, a fan asked Dave Stewart, so when's that being planned? You know what? I don't even. And his answer is pretty much, I don't have no idea. I have no idea. And I don't.
If you find out anything, you tell me.
Yeah. So
as the person pointed out when I tweeted that, how do you ghost Dave Stewart?
I'd be afraid to.
I know.
I'd be afraid to, but I mean, I know that you're cutting back. You're a small market team, but you're still $1 million corporation. Don't you
multi-million-dollar corporation?
Multi-million-dollar corporation.
If they were only $1 million corporation, make more sense as to what they're doing.
Okay. I got COVID, man. Anytime I speak today, I'm blaming that.
Fair enough. I would like to point out they are about 500 through 7 games, so they are 4-3.
There you go. But you think you'd have somebody in marketing on top of this shit? You need a marketer more than most teams.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the whole thing, it's really embarrassing. It's Bush League bullshit. And it's just classless. What the hell? The other thing I wanted to talk about, too, we didn't go through that the last couple of weeks, and we could have. At what point, when you're a Hall of Famer and you keep screwing up, do you say maybe you shouldn't be in that Hall of Fame anymore? Now, it's sort of tricky because the first thing I'm going to talk about is in the WWE Hall of Fame. And that technically doesn't exist because there isn't a physical place for that.
Right.
But I don't know if you've heard, maybe not. Tammy Sitch, who was Sunny, got arrested again over WrestleMania weekend. Or it might have been the week before, it doesn't matter. Either way, it came out that her last DWI, and when you have to count them on more than one hand, obviously this is not good. Now, it turns out she killed someone this time.
Oh boy.
75-year-old grandfather who, well, he was at a red light. He wasn't moving. She has been arrested 17 times that I can discern from Wikipedia. At what point and I'm not even saying kick her out of the Hall of Fame. I don't even know where I'm going with this in terms of halls. Maybe I'm not. But at what point do we, I don't want to say point at enablers, because
Yeah.
I mean, she's got her friends and family. I'm sure they've done what they could. But she was driving a car, someone's Mercedes. Wasn't hers because she can't legally drive.
Mm-hmm.
So I say this, I guess, to all the other men out here of whatever age. When you're dealing with someone like this, and I can't get into her head, but I can't imagine what it's like to be, because she's the same age I am, 49, and your peak was 25 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and you traded everything on your looks. And it wasn't that you didn't have a personality, you did. But now your main source of income is whatever boyfriend you can find, and OnlyFans. Because if you look on her Twitter, which is still up, most of what she's posting in the last little bit was, "You want to see my pussy?" Or other things like, because we can be vulgar here, I don't see why not, or things of that capacity. Like 10 years ago, she would go to wrestling conventions where she'd bring a bed, right? And then so her fans could actually sort of like take a picture with her in a bed to make it look like, oh, they woke up with. Now, at what point are fans at this point a little complicit? I mean, everyone knows that this woman's a train wreck. Because if you're a fan of hers, you know the story, you know the backstory. Because you're not laughing with her, you're laughing at her, and it's just the part of being a guy that makes me really ashamed. Let's just say.
Yeah,
Saying all
I mean,
that, this is
at some
completely. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah. I mean, whoever gave her the car, unless she stole it, come on.
Who says, well, which is possible.
Yeah.
Which is possible. I mean, like, she's been arrested for multiple things. She's been in jail a few times already. I don't know how people sort of let that happen. There's a lot of people who are somewhat complicit.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm even going to throw that down to just random fans.
I mean, if she's killed somebody, the odds of her now getting,
I mean, it's too late to save that gentleman, but she's probably not going to be out anytime soon.
Right.
So hopefully, prison is definitely a place they designed to get your life back together, right? But hopefully she at least gets sober in there.
Yeah, I don't know how the Wi-Fi is. Well, prison, maybe not, based on all the prison shit I've watched. Yeah. I don't know I don't know how the Wi-Fi is in there for her OnlyFans though, huh? But it's really sad to watch someone go down this bad for this long.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no hope here. I really don't. It's one thing when you're hurt, you're just doing shit to yourself. It's quite another.
When other people are involved.
Now, so what's worse to you in a way? This or 2 weeks ago, Hope Solo, who DWI'd with her kids in the car.
Oh yeah. Can it be a tie?
Sure.
I mean,
definitely be a tie.
DWI with the kids in the car is just a whole separate level of irresponsible, though. Even though she didn't kill anybody.
Sure, and to be, I don't want to say to be fair, we don't know the level of
intoxication.
Yeah, if it's a 0.08, it's a lot different than a 0.16. We don't even know what Tammy's was either at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going on that assumption because I think that's a Vegas odd. I'm feel comfortable to play.
Yeah.
If that turns out to be wrong, I don't know, but there's a level of celebrity entitlement, male, female, that just is pretty goddamn disgusting sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's worse. I guess the Hope one is a little more surprising to me. And we've always known that she's been a firecracker. I didn't know necessarily that she was.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a history of making this type of decision.
Well, okay, that's yes, thank you. And this is a recent Hall of Famer. Just I believe was this year got inducted into
Correct.
the
Yeah,
National Soccer Hall of Fame.
like 3
So,
months ago. 2 months
Yeah,
ago. Yeah.
yeah. So I just thought that might be something to bring up in some capacity. Maybe because my smorgasbord of shit's pretty thin, and we don't actually have any set Hall of Fame stuff. Wow, I really
No, we're getting close. I mean, we're now what the ballots for the Rock Hall close in the 26th, right?
yeah, and
We should hear that pretty soon.
and the Rock Hall will do what they always do. All right, tune in next week. What time? Well, we'll give you the date. Isn't that enough?
6:30 in the morning Eastern. That's how it always is.
I cannot.
No, don't worry. MC5 will get in as a musical excellence person.
Well, that's it exactly. Because it doesn't matter who wins the vote anyway. It really doesn't. Not and as much as we want to say things have changed since winter is gone, the same stink is still there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed.
But whatever. That's why. Before we go into the death thing, I think it's a great time to plug our shit. Because I don't want to go into drunken driving and then go to dead people. So right in between, here's our palate cleanser. If you don't like the way Halls of Fame work, why don't you check out the one that Evan and I did, the United States Athletic Hall of Fame. And you must be thinking, well, somebody must have came up with that before. No, we did.
And I don't have it here. I have it in my office. I should bring it back so everyone can see it. I have the thing from the federal government to prove it.
Mm-hmm.
So
the first class will be decided by all of you. Go vote now, and you can vote every day. Not multiple times in a day. We want to keep this right, but you can vote multiple times over, but it'll limit you at one a day. www.nothinghalloffame.com/USA. You can all remember that. Go now, go vote. And the classes, it's all going to be transparent, and it's all decided by all of you.
Yep.
Okay.
And now dead people.
Some of the people you can vote on are dead.
That is true. None of the people this week are on that list, though. So,
no.
All right. So we're going to start with the Beige Mistress.
She's back.
She is back. Beige Mistress, of course, is a fictional construct that we have who only kills Hungarian athletes. And this week, she got Joseph Salim, who competed in the 92 and 2000 Summer Olympics in Taekwondo. Passed away at the age of 54.
I think I know who can play her now.
Ooh, who?
Okay. I started to watch a girl from Plainville on Hulu.
Okay.
Elle Fanning.
Interesting.
Might not be. Now, granted, she's sort of designed to look like the person she's playing, Michelle Carter, or something. I don't know. It might be just sort of the eyebrows, the way it's sort of working, but it's sort of got that hidden evil thing. So I just want to throw that out there for when we license this next character to the Marvel extended universe.
I think it's just the multiverse now.
You and I can play bit characters as Hungarian officials.
I was going to try and do a Hungarian accent, but the closest thing I come up is my Dracula accent. I think that's probably.
Who would know?
What?
Who would know? It's like when you and I go on. We go into the Rock Hall when we're Daft Punk. Well, are you sure we're not? Can you prove that we're not? Maybe that's what we really are doing this whole time. This is just our side hustle.
Fair enough. Sticking with the Olympic theme, two-time silver medalist, also in judo, Estela Rodriguez from Cuba, passed away also at the age of 54. She tested positive at the 96 Olympics, but was only issued for a diuretic furosemide, was only issued a reprimand and got to keep her medals, which is an interesting thing.
What does that drug do?
It's a diuretic, so it means it helps you drop water weight, but I can't tell you. So
who knows? Every commission's so different. You don't even know.
100%. American long distance runner Mark Conover passed away at the age of 51. Most
famous probably for his victory at the 88 Olympic Trials Marathon, which brought him to the Summer Olympics in Seoul. But he passed away. I'm sorry, he was 61. He passed away of cancer. A couple of people from Israel passed away. One of whom was Barak Lufan, who was head of the Israeli Canoe Association and a kayaker, who unfortunately was one of the people killed in the mass shooting in Tel Aviv earlier this week. So he passed away at the age of 35. Yeah, there was another one here, but I can't find it right now, so we'll come back. We also lost Tunisian sailor who was at the 2020 Summer Olympics, Aya Guezguez, who she was out practicing with her sister, got caught up in high winds. She ended up drowning in the Mediterranean at the age of only 17.
17?
Yeah, which is pretty terrible. 17. Yeah, she was in the Olympics in 2020 as a 15-year-old. And then from Canada, bronze medalist in the 1984 Summer Olympics, Desai Williams.
Oh, I know him.
Passed away at the age of 62.
In 84 to 80, well, he wouldn't have been an 80.
He was an 80. He was 84. He won a bronze in the 4x100 medal relay.
I remember that name very well. Yeah, that was in that decade where, for a brief time, we cared about sprinting until. To be fair, he also was given a lifetime ban by Athletics Canada in 2018 for violating sexual harassment policy while he was coach. So, yeah, but anyway. Can I mention something that I forgot?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, it's just when you mentioned, and here's a segue on sexual harassment. Here's something I wouldn't have had on the bingo card. Molly Shannon on the Howard Stern show said today that Gary Coleman tried to sexually harass her.
My friend posted that to us.
Wow. Okay, who saw? Okay, I never would have thought that.
Yeah, that's why he was cleaning the toilets in Avenue Q.
I don't feel bad about that lawsuit anymore.
That's a musical reference you're not getting. So
I get it.
Oh, okay.
I saw that.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just weird when you show up and it, like, one of the characters in this Muppet play is actually Gary Coleman. So
because he was he wanted to sue them.
Mm-hmm. Right. So anyway, all right, from professional baseball, we lost Joe Horlin, who is a member of the 72 Oakland A's championship team. Spent most of his career with the White Sox from 61 to 71. Was an all-star in 67, led the AL and ERA in 67, and pitched no-hitter in September of 67. Finished his career with the championship team of the A's in 72. He passed away at the age of 84. Also passing away is first baseman / catcher John Ellis, who played for most of the Yankees, Indians, and Rangers in his career, had a 12-year career in the majors, passed away at the age of 73. From professional bodybuilding, professional bodybuilder Cedric McMillan passed away at the age of only 44, which again is not shocking with the way these folks go. He passed away of a heart attack.
Isn't this the second? I saw that on, I forget what news site I saw that. And I was thinking, like, isn't this the second one of the same age in about a year?
It's the third, I think.
It's the third? Okay.
About a year, yeah.
Yeah, in their 40s, like, the human body is just only not meant to do this.
No, and he was one of the top guys. He won his first title back in 2008 in the junior championships, but he finished first in 08, 09, 11, 12, 13, 15, 16, 17, and a couple times in 2019. So, I mean, he had 1, 2, 3, including winning the Arnold Classic in 2017. So
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 number ones to his career. So, yeah, only 44. So, from the world of basketball, John Drew passed away at the age of 67.
Really good player.
Very good player. 2-time NBA All-Star in 76 and 80. Remember the all-rookie team in 75. Had 1,500 career points, over 5,000 rebounds in his career. Averaged 20.7 points for his career. Played with the Jazz and the Hawks mostly, and then the Jazz in his career. One of the real important guys in those early 80s Hawks teams. Was 67 years old.
What did it say? What he died of?
Well, it says that he passed from bone cancer. He was actually the first player in the league who was banned under the substance abuse policy David Stern had put in. And he was battling with drug addiction, particularly cocaine, his entire career or entire life afterwards. So he missed 38 games in 82, 83 and spent 8 weeks in rehab, and was runner-up that season and voting for Comeback Player of the Year behind the late Paul Westphal. So he had a tough way to get out. He was arrested in 85 for passing bad checks and all sorts of stuff, and they basically bounced him out of the league. So ended his life actually driving a taxi in Houston. So also lost Wayne Cooper at the age of 65. Played with the Warriors, Jazz, Mavericks, Blazers, and Nuggets, and also Blazers a couple times. Sun Belt Player of the Year in 1978, scored 7,777 points in his NBA career. He was only 65, passed from kidney disease. From the world of golf, just today, Jack Newton, who finished second in the 1980 Masters, passed away at the age of 72. It doesn't say what he passed of, but he passed away. That was actually, I checked one last time before I come on here to make sure nobody else reported, and that happened right before he came on. So, also Shirley Spork passed away at the age of 94. Finished second in the Women's PGA Championship at 62. Won the Patty Berg Award in 2015, and is actually one of the co-founders of the LPGA. So she passed away at the age of 94.
Is she not in the Golf Hall of Fame, or does it say?
Let me see here. She's one of the 13 founders of the LPGA. She's a Michigan Golf Hall of Fame, the Eastern Michigan University Athletic Hall of Fame, the PGA of America Hall of Fame in 2019.
PGA of America? They have a separate. Okay.
I don't know what that means.
I don't either. Okay.
So, but yeah. So she passed at 94, just of complications of being 94. From the world of hockey, former Boston Bruin and Minnesota North Star Tom McCarthy passed away at the age of 61, 10th overall pick in 1979. Passed away from having heart surgery in Mexico earlier this week. Mexican heart surgery, yes. So I don't know if that's something I would necessarily choose. It seems to be one of those things you get forced into.
Well, who's to say? I mean,
I guess that's true.
I mean, my dad, McCarthy's a Canadian, right?
Yeah, he was Canadian.
Okay, because my parents, when my mom was well, they drove to Mexico every year, and they would spend 4 months in Mexico, and that's where my dad always got his dental surgery. He just did, even though we could do it. No, he could do it at no cost, and a lot less in Canada.
Interesting.
Actually, no, my dental would have been covered there. But no, because things are relatively cheap there. Or maybe it's a snowbird thing, so maybe it's April, possibly. Maybe you didn't have a choice.
So, from the world of music,
Charlotte Moffett, one of the great modern jazz bassists, passed away of a heart attack at the age of 54. Started with Wynton and Branford Marsalis, but has also played with, Dizzy Gillespie, Ornette Coleman, Harry Connick Jr., Herbie Hancock, Kevin Eubanks, like a whole bunch of people. But yeah, he passed away at the age of 54. From the world of, you ready? Here's a Hall of Fame that we've never talked about before.
Okay.
Edwin Cantar passed away. American bridge player, won 2 world championships in bridge. Passed away at the age of 89. He's a member of the ACBL Hall of Fame, which stands for the American Compact Bridge League.
Why does
Hall
it
of
need to be
Fame.
compact?
Not compact, contract, excuse me, contract bridge.
Okay.
Sorry, I said the wrong word. But so he won two world championships, and he's also the only player to ever have played in a world bridge championship and a world table tennis championship.
That will probably be a record that will never be taken. I would think.
You would think. Probably one of the best bridge players in American history. Had wrote more than 35 books on bridge. So yeah, passed away at the age of 89. Another Hall of Fame we don't talk about much, the Internet Hall of Fame. Tadao Takahashi passed away at the age of 71 from a heart attack. He came up with, set up the internet backbone basically for Brazil and other Latin American countries. He was the guy in charge of getting them online.
Okay.
So he passed at the age of 71 also from a heart attack. The moral of the story this week, watch your heart. Now we get to football now. Alvin Walker passed away, 2-time CFL All-Star at the age of 67. Played with the Houston Oilers and Green Bay Packers, but in between played for the Rough Riders, Alouettes, and we played Rough Riders in Saskatchewan and in Ottawa.
Okay, I was going to ask which Rough Riders.
The answer is both. But he passed away at the age of 67. Gary Brown also passed away. Former running back for the Oilers, Chargers, and Giants. Had a couple 1,000-yard seasons with the Giants. Played from 91 to 99. Was also the running backs coach for the Cowboys for most of the last decade. He was actually the running backs coach of Wisconsin last year. But he passed away at the age of 52 from cancer. So
a lot of young ones this time.
A lot of young ones. Speaking of which, Dwayne Haskins.
Oh man. How many people became the story because of the way they incorrectly reported on this?
Peter King.
Adam Schefter. Holy shit. Is he
Adam Schefter? Yeah, and what's his name for the Cowboys? The Cowboys.
Well, Gil Brandt.
Gil Brandt is 90 years old, and
yeah, but his was, let's be blunt, the worst.
Mm-hmm.
It's Schefter. I mean, because what I'm trying to remember what he tweeted. It's like, well, when you
said it was former Ohio State standout who struggled to catch on with the Redskins and Raiders, I believe.
Which is true. It's just not the time to mention.
You don't need to do it. Just say former Ohio State backup quarterback currently backing up for the Steelers.
Yeah, there's always the time and the place. Gil Brandt's one is really interesting to me because I think specifically what he was saying about Haskins was that he was always seemingly chasing death. I don't know what that means.
Mm-mm.
And I'm kind of glad he didn't really elaborate. Again, though, someone, I know he's 90. I don't know what kind of issues or cognitive that he may or may not have. He might be perfect at this point. I don't know. But Jesus.
Yeah.
That's just not the right time.
Yeah, 100%.
At 24, there have been other quarterbacks who were a complete mess.
Mm-hmm.
And actually players of all sorts of positions, and then they just finally got it. Haskins could potentially have seen a lot of playing time this year in Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
Or none. I don't know.
We have no idea, and I mean we're never gonna know. But yeah, there's just a time and a place. Just be gentle originally, and then if you want to discuss their legacy afterwards, fine. But like, just be factual on the way out there. Schefter's had a weird year.
That's what I said. Like, I don't know any reporter who's or sports reporter, just to specify, who's had more blunders over the last 12 months than Schefter.
Yeah.
All of which he knows better.
Yeah, I mean, just the whole having to run his stuff by brass in Washington before releasing it is.
I didn't ask
Not
you.
good.
Is that in your good, bad, and ugly? I didn't even touch it because I figured you had to be.
Yeah, we're gonna be talking about that.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't even need to ask.
Yeah, we'll be talking about that. So, yeah. I don't know what else to say about that, but yeah.
Yeah, no. So it's sad. I mean, other stuff came out that I don't know if he even had a car there. He was just
Yeah, he was crossing a highway at 4:30 in the morning and got hit by a dump truck. Like,
well, who knows?
who knows? But
You know, but that's again someone's husband. A lot
Mhm.
of people say what we want about whatever his work ethic may have been on and off the field. Clearly, a lot of people love the guy.
mhm.
So again, just time and a place for, especially when you're doing a tweet for that, just or a headline.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So anyway, we have two big names to get to. I just want to bring up one other person who's not in a Hall of Fame, but was interesting. No, she's even still alive.
Mhm.
Mimi Reinhardt passed away, who was a secretary who typed up Oscar Schindler's list of people he was trying to save.
Holy crap.
She was 107 when she just passed away. Born January 15th, 1915, passed away April 8th of 2022. So
That's got to be the one critically acclaimed movie that I think people can only watch once.
100%. If you've ever been to the Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C., it's so well done, you never want to go again. So,
Yeah. In Winnipeg, we've got we're gonna go this weekend. I guess I'm not. The Human Rights Museum, which we have just in walking distance from where I am. So that's a place that I'm going to be checking out shortly. But wow. All right, let's move on.
yeah. So two left. We'll go with the person directly related to us. Pro Football Hall of Famer Rayfield Wright passed away at the age of 76. The Big Cat, as he's called, played on 5 Cowboys teams that got to the Super Bowl in 70, 71, 75, 77, 78. Also was in the Ice Bowl in his rookie season in 67. Won 2 Super Bowls, 3-time first team All-Pro, 3-time second team All-Pro, 6-time Pro Bowler, and member of the 1970s All-Decade team, member of the Cowboys Ring of Honor, and a 2006 inductee in the Pro Football Hall of Fame as a senior candidate.
Again, just another thing with the Pro Football Hall of Fame. That guy, everything about him screams like, wait, he had to get in as a senior?
Yeah.
That's just how hard it is to get in.
Yeah. So he had early onset dementia, probably from all the head injuries he had. He played 180 regular season playoff games and had several concussions throughout his career. So said he also had several car accidents that were caused by seizures. So he was one of the main people who joined in the lawsuit against the NFL. So, but yeah. Anyway, and lastly, from the world of entertainment, Gilbert Gottfried. Our fourth comic of about the same age who's passed now in the last 6 months. I mean, Norm Macdonald, Louis Anderson, Bob Saget, now Gilbert Gottfried. I mean, there's a picture of Gilbert posted when Saget died of him and Louis Anderson at an event. That was like 3 months ago, not even.
Gilbert was fearless. I used to hate him when I was younger. Just couldn't stand that voice. So initially I never gave him a chance until I was much older.
Mm-hmm.
And then he did not care. And there's so few like that. I wonder, like when he got sacked by Affleck.
Yeah.
For an insensitive, talk about insensitive tweets after the Japanese tsunami. And cost himself quite a bit of money in the process, obviously. And he was known to be very, very tight with the buck.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very tight. I wondered at the time, like, for him, was that someone? He seems like one of those real guys, even though as cheap as he was legendarily cheap for that. I wonder if he just thought, well, no, it's worth it, because I'm just gonna say whatever the hell I want if I think it's funny.
Yeah, I mean, he had 3 controversial jokes in his career. First was he was hosting the Emmy Awards back in I can't remember. Probably it had to be the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And he was told a series of masturbation jokes that was a reference to Pee Wee Herman, Paul Rubens' arrest, that were shown live in the East Coast and censored for the West Coast. And he was blacklisted by Fox and never got to come back. Then 3 weeks after 9/11, they had the celebrity roast of Hugh Hefner.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And he told the joke that he couldn't get a direct flight because they had to stop at the Empire State Building first. And that didn't go over so well. So he basically just told the aristocrats joke to get everybody back on his side. And then finally, the thing that got him, and my wife said, what was he blacklisted for? Because it's hard to remember. And everyone remembers he got fired by Affleck. Do you remember what he was blacklisted for?
I mean, what the tweet was?
Yeah, there's doing one. There were 12.
Oh, there was 12. I thought it was only the one.
No.
Okay, no, I don't then. I thought I did. I guess I don't.
About the tsunami disaster in Japan. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he had 12 things. Apparently, Affleck did 75% of their business in Japan.
Oh.
So that didn't go so well. But yeah. 67. Another heart condition. So not the best.
Mm-hmm.
So there we go. That was a very long march. But yeah. So
sadly they are. So next section that we do here on Hall of Fame show, it's elevator up, elevator down, where I give you some people who I think had a great week, or just something that I've been thinking about that made their Hall of Fame case, either up or down. I don't have a down. I've got 2 ups. The up is super easy. The first up. Obviously it's Scotty Scheffler, won the Masters. He's ranked number 1. He's only 25. He's won 4 tournaments. That's about as good a week as he's having his great rookie year, or not a rookie year. He already won Rookie of the Year, but he's having a phenomenal year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's good to see another star coming up in golf that people are going to care about.
100%. Yeah.
The other one I want to bring up is someone that pains me to bring up because A, he's a Maple Leaf, and B, he's American, which means it's hockey. And Austin Matthews is now the all-time single season leading goal scorer for the Toronto Maple Leafs, an original 6 team. He's probably going to win the Rocket Richard Award, meaning that, well, the only person who's never been in the Hockey Hall of Fame who led the league in goals twice is Peter Bondra. I like Peter Bondra.
Mm-hmm.
Peter Bondra is no Austin Matthews. Matthews is a special player. He's a damn good hockey player. He can actually play on the other end of the ice, and he's under 25.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel confident enough that he's going to win that goal scoring award that I can just sort of bring that up. And I thought I don't think that we ever really talked a whole lot about him, just because it seems pretty clear that he is. But he just added another major feather to his belt.
Here's a great question for you. With Keith Yandel, I know holds a record now for most consecutive games played.
Yeah.
Do you know who second is?
Who he took over from?
No, actively, who's the second?
Oh, no idea.
Phil Kessel.
Oh,
Phil Kessel's like less than a season behind him.
Kessel needs that stuff.
Yeah, if Kessel breaks that record, I mean, Yandel needs it, but it's maybe broken as soon as next year, presuming that Kessel's still really playing, because he's not. I mean, he's playing in Phoenix, but not really. That may do wonders for his ability to get in as well. I was just looking at that as a future.
That's a very good one because Kessel needs a lot. Kessel, there's a lot of people in the hockey circles that do not like Phil Kessel.
Most of the Bruins players, for one.
A lot of people in Toronto hated him too.
People in Pittsburgh also hated him. So
they did win in Pittsburgh.
He did win in Pittsburgh, so that helps things go away. But yeah.
I mean, I remember a lot of Leaf fans being super upset when Kessel got a ring. But yeah, no, that's a very good one.
Yeah, I was just looking at that because they had a graphic on it. Yeah, Phil Kessel's now the active leader. So
interesting.
Oh, he's like 63 games behind or something at the moment.
I mean, he's doing good enough that he could still play, presumably. Right. I don't even know if he's in a contract here or not. Like, who's watching the Coyotes, right?
I do not know. I did see a coyote walking down the sidewalk right by my house yesterday. So
really,
just walking by him down the sidewalk, trotting along, not very interested. I said hi. He didn't even look at me. You know.
Alice Cooper met my dog. Yes, last week.
Really?
Yeah, I was staying at the hotel here at the Fairmont. Because I don't know if I'm supposed to say that stuff. Yeah, it's like, shit, that's Alice Cooper. And he's walking by and looks at Jasper like, oh, nice pup. I didn't say it. What am I going to say?
Yeah. Nice. Cool.
Yeah. So there you go. Yeah. So that leaves us with your close, the good, the bad, and the ugly of sports for the week.
I do it for you. You let it up. So the good is I'm actually going to go somewhat contrarian to the TNT basketball analysts. I loved the Minnesota Timberwolves celebration after they won that game and made the playoffs.
Why not?
Yeah. Like Patrick Beverley believes in himself unnecessarily more than possibly anybody in the league, right? Mm-hmm. And he beat the team he'd played for 4 years to make the playoffs, a team that's made the playoffs since Kevin Garnett left once in 2018. They made 2018. Before that, the previous time is 2004, right? So this is not a common occurrence for Minnesota. And Minnesota, honestly, is a team that could give Memphis some trouble in the first round. I still think Memphis is a much better team. It's probably not going to go more than 6, but it's not going to be easy games for Memphis, right? I just think Milwaukee's going to go 4-0 and take Chicago out real fast. It's going to be really easy for them. I do not think it's going to be easy for Memphis. But if you're in this do or die situation, celebrate. You win. Like, you win game 1, I get like not going over the top of like a 7-game series. Mm-hmm. But like, it was.
Well, this was a clinching game.
It was a clinching game.
Yeah.
Like, you see players in Major League Baseball make the playoffs. They have champagne spray stuff, and that's just making the playoffs. I mean, it's the same sort of thing. Like, all the killjoys are like, act like you've been there before. Most of those guys haven't been there before.
Yeah, they haven't been there before.
There's only one person on that team who was there in 2018. This is Karl Anthony Towns. Everybody else is new.
And he's the one I'm happiest for.
Yeah. Like, and he played awful in that game.
Oh, he did. He stunk.
It was not good.
And KAT just continues to always have good year. I watched this YouTube thing, and it was just, what was it? I forget what it was titled exactly, but basically great players who wasted their career on bad teams. And it was like Pete Maravich, but this is more than Pete Maravich, but Towns he's one of those guys who's way better than people give him credit for because Minnesota stinks.
Yeah. So, but good for them. I'm happy that they celebrated. It's been 5 seasons or since they got there. Mm-hmm. Let them celebrate. Good for them. Screw everybody else.
I'm with you on that. That's a great. I love that good. That might be one of my favorite goods that you've done in a long time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, again, the college kids could celebrate after they win a NCAA tournament game.
Oh, they
Those
go
are
nuts
these
when
guys
they
get it.
when they beat a rival in basketball.
Yeah, 100%.
You know.
We won a game in college. So American University was not good at basketball when I was there.
Mhm.
And we didn't have very many fans. Since we're in DC, most of the fans were visiting from, we played teams like East Carolina and UNC Wilmington and places like that. So they come up and want to go to we were the big city in the league. So people come up, but we were really bad. And we actually won a game, an exhibition game one year against a team called the Nantucket Nectars, which were some sort of traveling basketball team sponsored by the juice company. We won on a last second shot. And our team, we were so excited, we stormed the court and carried the manager off the court because why not? So
here's a dumb question here, that because I've never been to a college game in sports. Well, in Canada I have, but I've always wanted to go to a college game in the US of some capacity. Can you drink there? Or like, do the concessions open, or because it's like most?
Yeah, I mean, you can drink there. I mean, Bender Arena at the American University is probably a little bit different than others, but yeah, as long as you have, whatever, you can drink there. And American was actually not one of those schools you could drink at because of we were run by we were founded by act of Congress, so Congress has to vote every year for us to graduate, us in the military academies. And
you said everything's so bipartisan there. Well, look at that.
We almost didn't graduate, actually.
No.
4 days before we were supposed to graduate, we had a speaker come to campus and noticed that part of one of our dorms had been redone because the daughter of a guy from Iran went to the school and he didn't think the dorms were nice enough for her. She had to stay there her freshman year as a rule. Okay. So he redid part of one of the dorms and they named that part of the dorms after him, the Adnan M. Khashoggi Center. Problem is, Adnan M. Khashoggi was one of the largest Iranian arms dealers and was heavily involved in the Iran-Contra affair. And so we had a speaker on campus who happened to notice that, who was a member of Congress, and held up the vote on our graduation until the name was taken down from the building. And that happened 4 days before I was supposed to graduate back in 2001. So
who's it named after now?
I don't think it's named after anybody. It was just like, it's a bridge. There are two dorms, Letts and Anderson, and there's a bridge in between them. And so the 6th floor of the bridge he had redone. And that was the Adnan M. Khashoggi Center, which is just dorms like everything else, but much nicer dorms than the rest of Scott. So, yeah.
Interesting.
Anyway, yeah, so there you go.
All right. So
but yeah, I mean, I've been to other college games and like I've been to hockey games in Boston. So I went to a Beanpot game once between Northeastern and BU.
Okay.
And there was alcohol at that game, so I'd imagine. And I was actually at another one between Bowling Green and Miami of Ohio, a hockey game, and they had hot beer there as well. So.
Yeah, I figure if I'm going to finally get to college football, and granted, it's
Well, I was at Notre Dame. I was at the longest game in Notre Dame history, Notre Dame Pittsburgh in 2008, November 1st, 2008. It was so many overtimes. The sprinklers came on between the 5th and 6th or 4th and 5th overtime. So
nice. Well, I think it's my closest will be Division II, North Dakota. So
yeah, there you go. They got some good hockey though.
Yeah.
Got football. Get a good game against the Roadrunners of South Dakota State.
There you go. There you go.
So anyway, so that's the good. The bad is Dan Snyder. And he's only the bad because a devastating story came out, which I sent to you, which is going to be the ugly. Dan Snyder.
Tell people the story if they don't have it.
Well, first, I'm going to start by saying he needs to be removed. And I don't understand why the NFL is protecting him. Okay. So like we said, we've talked about this over the last 6 months or so, that the whole Redskins scandal, the only people who were affected were John Gruden and Adam Schefter somehow out of that whole thing. And everything else has been protected, right?
One looked like, and only one really lost their career.
One lost their career, right? Adam Schefter just got egg on his face, which he's continued to scramble into other things. But I really honestly think he did some damage to people actually talking to him from the league with this.
Of course.
Like players, I mean, he probably gets most of his stuff from insiders anyway in the teams, but the players, I think, are pretty much done with him after this. But anyway, so Congress, including my congressman, Raja Krishnamurthy, who is one of the co-chairs of this committee, came up with, did an investigation into the books of the Redskins and found that they had two sets of books. One where they showed the NFL and one that they was their actual books. And the difference between the two was that they passed off a lot of revenue that should have gone to revenue sharing as having gone to concerts and other events that took place there. Like there's an Army, I don't know if it's Army Navy.
Yeah, there was one college game and they, like that was the example I was reading about too. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there are a couple of concerts. There's a Kenny Chesney concert.
With significant revenue.
Yeah, it was a decent revenue.
Yeah.
And they weren't refunding seat license fees that they're supposed to give back to ticket holders to the tune of $20 million of non-refunded seat licensing fees.
That I'm surprised they got away with.
Well, yeah. Well, but they're defrauding the guys who they're working with, and somehow they're still being protected by the league, which I do not understand.
I don't see how this can last much longer.
He has to go. He has to go.
Remember the simpler times when he was just a tone deaf guy said, no, Redskins not racist.
I don't think we make anything. There are two religions in Washington, D.C., politics and the Washington football team, whatever we're going to call it now. Or either the old name, the new name, or the name in the middle, which I honestly think they should keep over Commanders. It doesn't even fit their theme song. Hail to the Commanders. Like they need, it's only two syllables.
So for that while, were they doing hail to the football team?
I don't know. Who knows? Probably still doing Redskins.
Probably.
But I don't understand. I don't understand how we can get away with this. Like Congress had to get involved.
Right. But
it's
now
that bad.
But now there's going to be 31 other owners who are pissed.
Yeah.
And it kind of reminds me of Casino. You know, that one movie or that one scene where they're in Kansas City and the mob guys are saying, like, what I mean, the people that were paying to rob for us are now robbing us.
Yeah.
I know I got that line wrong.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But yeah.
There's no honor among thieves. And
100%.
I don't think that this is something that other teams are doing. I'd like to think that they're not, but
wouldn't surprise me. Man, maybe that's why it's not as big a deal.
That's the only thing I can think of as to why you're not seeing a lot of moral outrage from some of these other owners. That's the only thing I can think of.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. You're right, though. I don't see how we can really stay in this capacity much longer.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? But they need, everything needs to come out on that Washington thing. There's way too much being covered up, and maybe this may be going on with other teams, which is maybe part of the reason it's not been released. I don't know, but there's going to become a reckoning. They're going to keep this under wraps for so long. There's going to come a reckoning for the NFL over what's been going on in Washington at some point.
And if this all comes out, I guarantee that's probably what Gruden's. Well, I don't know if Gruden's all that. I would say that Gruden's what he did or what he said in a private email would not even be the top 1,000.
Oh, 100%. 100%, of course.
Yeah.
So, by the way, one thing I don't want to forget that to mention here, and I sent you this as well. One of the great all-time coaches did retire this offseason, and I know I just forgot it earlier. Jerry York, the NCAA's all-time winningest coach in hockey, coached at Bowling Green, coached mostly at BC. Just one of the true legendary coaches in college, if you ever followed hockey, has decided to finally retire at 76. I mean, both BU and BC are going to have new coaches next year, which is a very, very rare situation. So,
But anyway, college hockey.
Yeah. So I just want to bring that up before we got to another legendary coach who's now been gone 10 years, by the way. It's 10 years since he passed.
Sadly, you another person you can't vote for at the United States Athletic Hall of Fame, but someone who, let's just say, is a product of his time. Win at all costs.
Win at all costs. And
because what you're going to talk about, I'm sure that there's many other coaches who have done the exact same thing. But anyway, continue.
So this article, which came out on ESPN, which took me like an hour to read, like it was that in depth. It's by Tom Junod and Paula Levine. The story is called Untold, and it's all about a football player named Tom Hodney, who played for Penn State in 77 and 78, and basically could not stop raping, for lack of a better term, and he committed other crimes as well. There's petty thefts and a few other things. Eventually, he committed a murder, murdered a cab driver, who father of four, and then claimed that the guy made sexual advances on him when he was just trying to rob the guy. But Tom Hodney was coddled and protected by Penn State. Mm-hmm. And Joe Paterno knew what was going on, and sometimes sort of did the right thing with telling people to testify, but never actually did what was needed. It was more what he was protecting the shield and not the people involved. And this whole story, and this is not all about Joe Paterno. It's more about the culture of big man on campus being able to get away with anything. Because I don't think that, while this guy played for Penn State and was a terrible person, I'm sure there were other people getting away with other crap in the Animal House era, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but never bash Animal House.
I'm not bashing Animal House. It's written by a member of my fraternity, co-written by a member of my fraternity. So the name of it was written by a Delta Tau Delta and a Delta Chi, which is why the fraternity house is Delta Tau Chi. They combined the two of them into one fraternity, which didn't exist. It wasn't over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor. So, but yeah, this story is awful. Like, it's just awful, and it goes on and on and on. And just the number of people, including the judge. At one point, he was arrested and had been convicted, and they were giving him time off while they were going to sentence him. They let him go home. And while he was home, he raped 5 other people and committed a murder. The bravery of the one woman who stood up the whole way through, and just everything going on. It's just an awful, awful story, and makes it all the worse with what happened with Jerry Sandusky, because the cover-up had happened before, right? They'd been through something like this. Now, not with summer camp kids in a shower. That's different, slightly, but it's the same sort of thing.
I think the worst thing is because, yeah, you've got that culture, but it did go to a trial with that one lady who did come forward.
Yeah, bully to her.
Right, but I think that it wasn't bigger news.
Mm-hmm.
Where I'd never heard of it, the story.
Well, they said that most of these records have been destroyed. Okay. And they had to go searching for a lot of the stuff.
Yeah. So this, because I read that article that you sent me, I didn't see a whole lot of sources from news coverage or anything like that. Nothing to see here, folks. I think that's what more got me. It's not that I'm a Paterno apologist, because I'm not, but that was I don't know. I guess I'm speechless. I can't even put my words together.
Yeah. I mean, just a number of people over the years who just coddled him and forgave it and everything else. And then the heroes who stood up. One of the people who, I mean, turned up better than anyone in this whole situation is Irv Pankey.
Yeah.
Who played 13 years in the NFL, who was he said he was one of 8 black guys on the team. And after the reports came out and the people would mock the Penn State players and mock the woman who testified on campus, he went and seeked her out and basically stopped it. This white girl, this huge black guy came and stopped and said, "Hey, I understand where you're coming from. It sucks to be an outcast. I'm not gonna let this happen to you anymore." And the African-American members of the Penn State team basically walked with her wherever she went. She would go to parties with them. She got some sort of a normal college experience again because Irv Pankey went out of his way to make sure it happened. Right. So there are complete heroes in the story, but like, my God, just over and over and over again. And everyone just basically dismissing it, from the police to administration, to the football team, to the athletic department, to everybody. Just an awful freaking story.
And sometimes it's like when we talked about earlier this year with Chicago Blackhawks scandal.
Mm-hmm.
And it was that, sometimes people just don't learn. It's not necessarily for the good of the team. And we've got to get our title. If you're good enough, you're going to get it. You're going to win that championship with or without it.
Mm-hmm.
Especially now with the 24-hour news cycle. Let's also be blunt.
Yeah.
Things can go away a lot quicker than maybe they would. That was a hard one for me to read also. When you sent that to me. Because I saw that on ESPN.com. I didn't click on it. It's just, when I saw that picture, I didn't even recognize the picture. Well, I never saw the guy.
Right.
I thought that was actually Sandusky at first.
That was a reasonable expectation.
So it's like, no, it's like, I don't want to read more about that. And then when you sent that, okay, well, all right, I'm going to check this out. And
your response to me was, and I quote, Jesus.
Well, that's not why. That's why I wrote a book on Amazon. But anyway.
Yeah. Right. So anyway, yeah. So that's about as bad as it gets, right? It comes back to the general's daughter that I always bring up. I bring up that movie way too often, right? It's like, what happened? Murder, worse than murder. Rape, worse than rape. What's worse than rape? When you know that, you'll know everything. The answer, of course, is what's worse than rape? Denying that rape ever happened. So, and that's the situation here. And I'm sorry if I ruined a John Travolta movie from 1999 for everybody, but that's the secret to the general's daughter right there.
If it's any consolation, John Travolta ruined a lot of John Travolta movies.
That is also true. And what's his name has been playing the same character ever since then. His character in that movie. Hold on, I can't think of his name.
I've seen it so long ago.
Yeah, hold on. 1999. The actor is James Woods. James Woods has been his character in that movie ever since was in that movie.
Well, I might as well play something because it's not like he gets stacked anymore.
Yeah, true. So anyway,
that's so good. And on that note, it's plug time. So, a man of few words. I did write more than Jesus when I helped Chavo Guerrero write his autobiography, The Late Great Chavo Guerrero Sr. Check that out, Amazon.com, Chavo Guerrero, instant classic. We just recorded for how the hell did this go #1? I gave these two, We Built This City, and they were defending it. I don't, Brad especially was defending. I don't know how you defend that.
It may be time to shut the program down.
It might be. They were knee deep in the hoopla. I don't know. I was not pleased. But so that's a regular show. So check that out. Chris Bourdain, we do a regular show called How This Crap Was on National Television. Eventually, we're going to decide a time to look at the 1989 Oscars. We're not there yet. And we've picked something for the next classic sports review. It's going to be the Ernest Biner fumble.
Oh,
yeah.
You could have just said the fumble. I wouldn't know what you meant.
Okay, well, yeah, I should have just said that. So all that, so much more. Oh, also Vinny Lospinuso, he always comes on a regular basis, and he explains why somebody you've never heard of belongs in the Hall of Fame.
And although on something somewhat related, you had a conversation with 3 people who as to someone who we all have heard of, Shimmer the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which was really good. I'm sorry I missed it.
Oh yeah, so that's on YouTube right now. Yeah, Cyndi Lauper, and they've done a great job sort of explaining why she belongs, and it's also great. Just love talking to different people. So yeah, that was a lot of fun, and that you can check that out. All that, much more, and with that, wherever you are, wherever you may be, stay safe, everybody.
Take care, guys.